This guitar is rather small. Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Restring Sunday, this time with real strings. It's the episode where I take a guitar, restring it, play it a bit, and talk about it. And this time, we've got a very cute, very tiny little micro guitar, and I think it's quite interesting because it's the only guitar of its kind where the target audience isn't kids. This is a 3/4 length guitar, or a short scale guitar, though short scale is a very broad term. Most guitars scale length, and by scale length we mean the distance of the string where it leaves the bridge and reaches the nut. Anything below 24 inches long will be classified as a short scale guitar. And this guitar is 22.2. It's the shortest that I could find of short scale guitars. I bought this guitar really cheap. It was €90. Like, they start off cheap anyway, but €90 is very cheap for this guitar. And the only reason that I bought it, other than it being an obvious bargain, is Paul Gilbert. I originally found Paul Gilbert years ago. I was on the Ibanez website. I was a fan of Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, and I knew that most of the Ibanez players were shred players, so I saw this guy, Paul Gilbert, from Mr. Big. So I YouTubed up Mr. Big, clicked on their biggest single, and was immediately disappointed. Hold on, little girl! That wasn't what I was looking for. I clicked off it, left it for years. And then I saw a live show of Mr. Big. It was live in San Francisco, completely different story. And from then on, I was a fan of Paul Gilbert. And this is a Paul Gilbert signature guitar. This is the Ibanez PGM Mikro. Paul Gilbert has been an Ibanez signature player for years, and in the 90s he had a signature guitar that looked just like this one, though it was a little bit bigger. So while I polish up these frets, let's talk about short scale guitars. So as I said, short scale guitars are anything below 24 inches in scale length, and coming from a guy who plays normally 27.5 inch scale length guitars, it's quite strange to be playing a 22.2 inch guitar. And I also said that this is one of the only guitars of its kind to be not marketed towards kids, and that's because it's the Paul Gilbert signature. But the same style of guitar from Ibanez, the Mikro line, is marketed towards kids, young players, because it's smaller, it's easier for small hands, just overall smaller people. There are other alternatives to just Ibanez though. Not very many, but there are some. We've got Squire's Mini line. They've got the Squire Mini Strats, and I think they might have offset minis as well. And then there's the Jackson Minion series. Again, you know, pretty obvious that young players wouldn't mind playing a Jackson Minion. So why does Paul Gilbert, of all people, have a signature mini guitar on the market when everything else available is marketed towards kids? I can't imagine Mr. Big or Racer X have a particularly large young audience. What's the deal? And also, these guitars are very small, while Paul Gilbert is very tall. Truly is Mr. Big. Well, there's videos online of him talking about it, but I was lucky enough to see him in person at a guitar clinic in Edinburgh. I flew over for it, and he explained this guitar. He had one on a stand, and he really only had it to play one lick, which sounds quite odd. Granted, the lick was pretty cool. There we go, now those frets look brand new. This guitar's neck is straight, so it didn't need a neck support on the table, so I didn't bring the famed kitchen roll, but I might just go get it, because look at the dirt on this pickup. Ew. It's the one bad thing about buying secondhand guitars. No one ever cleans them, so you've always got other people's finger dirt. Alright, restring time, and we've got the D'Addario Pizza Box bulk set, and we're going 10 to 46 on this one, and we're tuning it to standard. I've just realized that in the main recording I forgot to give a player's circle code away. So here's one on screen now. This one was sent in from a viewer. Thank you to Neil for sending that one in, and someone take it and enjoy. Also, maybe a good checkpoint to make sure that you're subscribed and like the video. The whole reason that Paul Gilbert has a signature one of these, and the reason that these aren't just for kids, they're suitable for any player, all shapes and sizes, is that there's so much less tension on the strings than a normal guitar would ever have. So you can put 10s on this guitar and it'll feel like 8s. The bends are crazy. So less tension on your scale end is obviously really fun because you can bend like crazy. However, there are some drawbacks too. For one, you really just cannot hit hard, and I hit very hard when playing. The guitar will go out of tune a lot quicker than your standard scale guitar if you hit hard. You have to have a light touch with this, and even then, this isn't a rhythm guitar, this is a lead guitar. The reverse headstock is nice. I like reverse headstocks. They're more convenient. But the benefits don't stop at easy bending either. The frets are a lot closer together on this, so you can do some really cool licks. My favorite part is that if you've got big hands, you can do stretches that you cannot do on normal guitars. Now you might have noticed something that's really, really cool about this guitar, and it is going to be a one-off. It's probably an accident. But if you see this pixelation here on the side of the headstock, that wood, that maple, this is a quarter sawn neck. And it's not just a little bit of it, the entire neck is quarter sawn. You can see the pixelation run through the grain entirely. And what that means is that this neck is a lot stronger than just standard maple. It could be 2 or 3 times stronger. This is a premium feature. When they're cutting logs of maple, it's a lot more labor intense process, there's a lot more waste, it's a more expensive process, which means that the product itself is a lot more expensive too. This is a premium feature on a, frankly, budget guitar. It was probably an accident, but very happy with that accident. And that brings me on to the idea that these guitars aren't premium guitars. It's the unfortunate side of short scale guitars. There just aren't that many of them. Yeah, there's Ibanez, Jackson and Fender Squier, but that's it. Probably just because they don't sell very well, because, well, they're viewed as little kids' guitars, and it would be a little kid. Even like a teenager, this would be too small for them. It wouldn't feel real. But to me, this guitar is a quality guitar. I'm very impressed with it for the low price. And yeah, I got it secondhand for a really low price, but even new stock, like, this guitar is very good for what it costs, and I'm very impressed with Ibanez for that. My one issue, and it's just part of the thing with short scale guitars, this is the shortest scale guitar there is. This is 22.2 inches. The Jackson Minion is 22.5 inches. The Fender Squier Mini is, I think it's 22 3/4 inches. So this is the shortest by far. There are some drawbacks to that. Normally when I'm playing lead, I like to switch into the neck pickup, but to me this guitar's neck pickup is pretty much useless because it's so flubby, and that's because of where it's located, but there's no real room for it to be located anywhere else, so it's just kind of the price that you pay for a short scale guitar. So it's not really a complaint, but it's just something to note. So all the leads and pretty much all the playing on this, except maybe some clean, will be played on the bridge pickup. This to me is a fun guitar. Short scales don't have to be just for kids or just for smaller people. You can have a lot of fun on this if you've got big hands or you just want to play fun stuff. Like if you've fallen out of love with guitar, maybe take a look at some short scales because they're fun. And I could also see if you had like a hand injury or something, this could be very useful as well. You really won't have to do, well, virtually any stretches if you just want to play normally. So I'm struggling to see any downside to these guitars. Yeah, if you want a high-end one, you're kind of out of luck. they don't exist. And it also seems like I'm throwing away half the string now that I've got it practically strung up. There's a lot of excess, but it's fun. This is a fun one. So make sure to like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, comment if you've got something to say, and ow, I poked myself in the eye.